handsome Shams Charania. Shams, we're just wrapping up the conversation about Draymond Green. Thank you so much for joining us today. I just view that as Draymond Green football. I guess what Connor's saying is like, without Steph Curry, with the position they're in, maybe they can't have Draymond Green football happen at this moment. He's 2 techs away from a game suspension. Is that accurate? And what do you think Steve Kerr says to Draymond in these types of situations?
2 technical fouls away. And then, I think a lot of what Draymond Green was made him so great is this ability for him to be physical, to really command the game. I mean, he commands games both from a vocal perspective, how he commands it defensively, and then even on offense. Like, he's the master communicator. And Jimmy Butler said it recently in one of his press conferences. He's like, the best thing about Draymond isn't that, how great of a player he is and the Hall of Famer he is, but just his ability to communicate from the best player to the worst player and how he's able to get his points across. And I think that's what makes him invaluable. But, plays like last night and the way Steve Kerr said it after the game, which was simply that, we know there's a line that he sometimes goes over, but that's what makes Draymond so great, and you live with it, right? Because he's helped bring you 4 championships. And then last night with him getting that technical foul, and, I saw his comments after the game. Did a little probing this morning on exactly what maybe he was referring to, and I know he had the incident when he was on the bike during the game. A fan allegedly yelled a slur at him, so potentially it could be something like that. I think another part of this, from my understanding, it's also what he feels is this treatment that he gets from the officiating, believing that he gets calls on him that other players may not get, and that they potentially referee him differently. Like that play right there on Naz Reid. If this was the first time Draymond Green was making a play like that, I don't think they go to the monitor. But because of his history, they've suspended him in the past based on history. I think because of all that, he feels like he might be getting an improper whistle or an improper treatment. Now, the flip side of that is everyone around the league believes Draymond Green has probably the best leeway, largest amount of leeway that any player has. He's able to have that back and forth with referees all the time. So it's a double-edged sword. At the end of the day, only Draymond Green is going to be able to explain exactly what this is. I think part of it maybe was that incident, but I think a large part is also the way he feels like he's officiated on a nightly basis and how his history is used against him.
Well, Draymond, we just want to let you know you're a victim of your own success, brother. I mean, that's just when you're around this long, people learn about you, people do it. And we would like to say we respect the hell out of the fact that you've been that guy since the beginning. Every team needs one, especially successful teams in all sports. There's normally a dog out there that is a little bit of an enforcer, a little bit of a tone setter, a protector, and also a little bit of a wild card every once in a while. And I think Draymond Green has had a hell of a career doing as such. And go green, Foxy.
Yes, sir. Go white. Love you, Draymond.
Yeah, okay. So let's move on and let's stay in the Golden State Warriors camp, though. Steph Curry's injury is obviously a massive ordeal for the Golden State Warriors. He's the best shooter in the history of basketball, and he was getting back to form of being the guy that was able to pull up from everywhere. Felt like Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green maybe ignited an old school Golden State Warriors team feel. What is it with Steph Curry, and how long are we looking for him to be missing some games? Because this Timberwolves team does not care, and they are not waiting around for Steph to get healthy. When should we see him back, and what are the realistic expectations, Shams?
Pat, it's a hamstring strain, and and everyone in there knows. DB, I'm sure wherever he has, he knows. Like hamstring strains, that's not an injury you play with. He's really been limited to just doing treatment, and he's going to be reevaluated on Wednesday, which means he's definitely out. Game 2, he missed. Game 3, Game 4, so he's going to miss at least 3 games. My understanding is it's probably not going to be at any point until Game 6. At the earliest for Stephen Curry. And there's actually like a 4-day gap between Games 5 and Game 6. It's a weird scheduling quirk. So, no, the NBA didn't do this because Stephen Curry got hurt. The NBA had already made this schedule. It's some alignment with the WNBA team there in the Bay. But because of that, they're able to have that period of time. So maybe you get Stephen Curry back there. But as I tweeted then, this is the first strain of the hamstring that Stephen Curry has ever had in his NBA career. He's never had this in his life. He's never had a hamstring injury in his life, he said yesterday. So it's going to be a very safe approach I think the Warriors are going to take with this. And I think at this point, you just try to get one back in the Bay Area. You try to win one, and get either Game 3 or Game 4. And I think what happened last night, what we saw is Steve Kerr and the Warriors really pinpointing yesterday's game to just throw a bunch of things at the wall, see what rotations we want to go with, see what our best way to win without Stephen Curry is. And, I don't know how much they came into the game thinking we want to win this game. It was more like we
got to figure some shit out here, without Steph. Yeah, I understand.
And I think I don't want to say they punted the game last night because you never want to say that, but I think they knew when you're without Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, they're having fun with it, right? It's Batman. He is Batman of this organization, of this team. You lose Batman, you have to figure out exactly what, who goes where, and that's what last night was all about.
And Buddy having the wrong shorts on. I mean, there's just that's such a cool franchise because of what they were able to do over there. That run they had, historic. They changed basketball forever. I think they changed basketball forever and everything that they've done. And then you lose the guy that basically did it all in the middle of a series while he's playing his best again. That has to be tough for Steve Kerr to figure out. And the fact that that's the first time that Steph has pulled his hamstring with how much he runs.
Yeah.
That's crazy that that's the first time. Now, once you pull it, the fear is always, that's going to linger. That's going to linger. That's always going to be there. Anyways, Steph, we're pulling for you, buddy. We're pulling for you. But also, Timberwolves, let's talk about Anthony Edwards. What was that? What do they think is going to happen there?
The guy's a freaking Wolverine.
I agree.
A
Timber Wolverine.
Oh.
He's a Timber Wolverine.
I don't know if it's like this LeBron James-esque ability that he has, but he can have an ankle tweak. He can have any body part will feel like he just sprained it, and he's able to just come back. He goes to the locker room. He goes to the back. He looks like he can't put any weight on that foot, on that leg, and then he ends up coming out. And the way for him to even get back on the floor, much less continue to be as productive as he is. I mean, the guy is just tough as anything. He has this innate ability to be on the court, and that was a must-win game for them. They took care of business. I think you have to feel really good if you're the Timberwolves. And you can see, even playing in Minnesota, the fans there are really, really involved. I mean, clearly they were involved with Draymond. Jimmy Butler, he came out after game one, made some comments about how he feels like the fans are, need to keep it within the lines of the game. So, those fans in Minnesota are really rampant right now. They're going. They're vibrant. And what they have in Anthony Edwards is they have a flat-out superstar that they want to come out and cheer for. But he might not want to be the face of this NBA and be the young face of the league, but his game, his charisma, and at the end of the day, his ability to stay on the court and his productiveness is what makes him kind of that face of the league potential.
All right, so we'll assume that Anthony Edwards is just going to be healthy somehow. Okay, that's awesome for him. I wish I had that ability. That would be very cool. And then Julius Randle, obviously a trade over from the Knicks. He's 3 boards away from a triple-double last night. So when you talk about playing good ball, the Minnesota Timberwolves could be the team that maybe surprises everybody. And obviously you got to get lucky, and Steph Curry getting injured is certainly a little bit of luck in the Minnesota Timberwolverine side, but on the Golden State side, not great. Let's talk about another series that does have a little luck whenever it comes to injuries on the other side, but who cares? They were the number 1 seed in the East. Mm-hmm. They're playing the Pacers tonight in Indiana.
Pacers.
Down 2-0. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Shams, there's obviously some injury questions with the Cavs. Before Game 2, Garland, Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter all did not. They were not present at shoot-around, but before Game 3 here, they all were present at shoot-around. Do you have the status on these 3 guys for this huge Game 3 tonight in Indiana?
I'm expecting, Tone Diggs, Darius Garland to definitely be in tonight. He wants to play. He wants to give it a go. He's missed, I guess, the last 2 weeks. I think it's been 2.5 weeks he's been dealing with this toe injury. He's been out. And it's a sprain of the great big toe in one of his foot.
The great big toe?
Yeah, there's an average big toe, and then there's the big, great big toe.
Wow.
I guess you could say it's the big toe, the great toe, whatever you want to. But he's clearly been dealing with something there.
The most inside one.
He's missed the last 2 weeks. I would expect him back. The bigger question is Evan Mobley. He was not able to put a bunch of weight on his foot, his ankle after he sprained it the other night. He missed their last game. But all 3, to my knowledge, are aiming to go into tonight's game with the intent to warm up and play in this pivotal Game 3. I mean, at this point, I think all 3 will do everything they possibly can to at least make themselves available. I think that's what the Pacers are preparing for. And they obviously need all 3. And if you can get any type of effort, because they've been competitive in both these games, but definitely they've been competitive the last game, in Game 2, they feel like they really had a chance to win. They should not have lost that game.
Okay.
The Pacers obviously went out and took it, but as much as you can get out of those three, I think they're very hopeful tonight.
Okay, well, good luck to them. Obviously, we want to see everybody at their best. You know, that's what we want the playoffs to be. They're coming in here to Indianapolis, though, and I'll tell you what, the town's a buzzing.
Be loud.
Town is a buzzing. Everybody's talking about how the Knicks, and I saw Mike Greenberg put together a beautiful monologue about the improbable run of the New York Knicks. Okay, why don't you go ahead and just talk about the Pacers as well? We would just like to take everything that Mike Greenberg said about the Knicks and the Celtics thing and put the Pacers name in there as well. They weren't even on primetime television. They were only on True. Turn around.
Was it NBA TV or True TV? Which one were you going to say? Or both?
All of the above. Yeah, it was impossible to find them through the playoffs. You make it to the playoffs, you're supposed to be on TV. Like, that is the purpose of the NBA playoffs. NBA TV, I guess the 4 or 5 seed, whatever it is, that's going to happen on a regular basis because they don't want to get the 1, 2, 3 teams not on primetime. Okay, sounds good. Then they play the Cavs in the opening, the series or whatever, and they have it just on True TV, and they had iRobot on TNT. They had the Inside the NBA kickoff show on TNT and on True TV. Then they put iRobot on TNT, and they put the Pacers game on True TV. And then later that night, Golden State was playing Game 7 or whatever. It was the Indiana Pacers versus the number 1 seeded Cleveland Cavaliers. It's like, this team is electrifying. Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar who is loved in this city, but not just Tyrese. The entire team is loved here for the way they go about ball. Remember, Indiana is a big basketball state, and the basketball that they like a team that is. We're passing, we're moving, we're running, we're respectful, we're doing this. We're still a little moxie if you need it, but we're a hard-working team. And it's like Carlisle's like the perfect coach for this team. The team has come together perfectly. And what they started last year in the playoffs that nobody was able to talk about because they got swept by the champion Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals didn't carry into the beginning of the year either. So like nobody really had respect for the Pacers at the beginning of the season. Tyrese Halliburton played like absolute shit. Didn't even make the All-Star game. That guy didn't even make the All-Star because of how he played at the beginning of the season. I think he would even say did not play good at the beginning of the season. Then post All-Star break, Tyrese was able to sleep on to what the hell he was going on. He comes out of there even better. The team goes, and they become the hottest team in the NBA, and it's like they still get disrespected. And I think it's because it's Indianapolis. He gets voted the most overrated player in the NBA by the New York Times, The Athletic, and it's like, I love that for the Pacers team. Like, I love that for them so much.
I just hate the quirk that doesn't let you watch the Pacers when you're in Indy for some weird reason. That's what I didn't know. I didn't like that one.
I want to let you know I got a number that I did not know that worked at the NBA office that sent me a text saying, here's an NBA Pass login. If you ever, please, like, if we could. And I would like to say to the NBA, thank you for that. I think you set up your distribution rights poorly that I can't watch the Pacers in Indianapolis. I assume that'll get fixed.
I'm glad they hooked you up. I mean, that's long overdue there.
Yeah,
that's
no chance I actually signed into that. I have no idea. I don't even know if my TV is smart enough to have the NBA thing on there. I don't know how that would work. But I do appreciate them hearing our messages of saying that was stupid and then also trying to be like, yes, we're going to figure this out. I also like that the NBA has been tweeting like 6-minute videos on X.
Great.
Like, hey, here's the final 2 minutes of this. They need to do more of that because they dominate social. And I'm happy to hear they're taking advantage of that. Anyways, the Pacers are for real.
Pat, I got to add on the Pacers. So I'm a nerd. You know, I'm more the business side. Like, I'm very interested in the business aspect of this. And like, you think about these playoffs, Indiana and Oklahoma City are the two teams so far that are in it that are in the bottom 8 in terms of spending. So you think about it, the bottom 8 payroll in the NBA, and Oklahoma City's got 1 max player and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Pacers have 2 in Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam. They're a little bit more veteran-laden team. So you think about cost for winning and what that Pacers front office has been able to do to keep the payroll where it's at and to win at that level that they're winning at. I mean, to me, it's impressive because it shows that you're identifying the players that are dogs, that guys that really want to win, that want to compete. You think about the Andrew Nemhards. You think about the Miles Turner. Miles Turner is going to be a free agent this offseason, Pat. I know you're going to need to keep him in Indiana.
He's been here like 11 years. He's been here a long time. How long has he been here?
He just did a nice little tribute article, I think, at the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
He's been a Pacer for, I think, 10 years. He
11
did like a
maybe.
10-year
10 or 11 years.
article. And it was a beautiful read, but like, he's been a guy that, like, multiple times, everyone was saying, you know, there was a lot of chatter around his name being traded. And he stays in Indiana. He's there in Indiana. He signed an extension at one point, and he's going to be up for another contract this summer. And you think about free agents he's going to be right up there, and the Pacers are going to have to pay him a lot of money to be able to keep him. But listen, you make it to 2 straight conference finals, potentially, if they're able to make it back, and you're able to do it with this type of a payroll, it's going to rise, once you pay a guy like Miles Turner. But what this team's been able to do, it shows a lot about their ability, I think, to identify the right player.
Miles and Pascal are great, so big, so athletic, so I don't want to say durable. Oh, that was
Versatile.
Versatile. There it is. So versatile. Miles will knock down a three anytime. Miles will get out there and knock that, and then he's underneath too. He's been great for the city, even though big transition period basically while he's been here. And then we trade for Tyrese obviously from Sacramento, Spicy P, Pascal Siakam from Toronto last year midseason. So it's like the moves they've made, the people they brought in, and the coach that they have in Carlisle. I think it all is perfect for the city of Indianapolis. Legit. I think anytime a team represents its city well, I think that's whenever you have real magic possible. I think people will see tonight whenever we have the home game.
Like team guys. Like Siakam's an NBA champion and he could ask for 30 shots a game, but he doesn't bitch whatsoever. I feel like that's why it works so well.
TJ McConnell, too.
I mean,
yeah.
Coming in here.
We know that.
Coming in here. He signed an extension, right? How many years with the Pacers? He signed a new deal with
I think he signed a 4-year extension. I think it was last year.
Lifetime deal.
Yeah, at the end of the season, because he was up at the end of the season, and I got a chance to meet Coach Carlisle at an event or whatever. Keeping TJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh kid. Needed to keep TJ McConnell around here. He's an absolute dog.
He gave you the word? He gave you the word?
No, absolutely not. They said, yeah, we'll see, the business thing. I go to Tyrese. I'm like, yo, got to be keeping the Yinzer, right? Got to be keeping the Yinzer around. He goes, I love TJ, man. I don't, he does that whole thing. So there's a question on whether or not he was going to come back, and it felt like he fit this team perfect. It felt like he was. I think we have the makings of a good team, but so does Cleveland. And if they're going to be completely healthy tonight, not completely healthy, but if everybody's going to be available tonight, this should be a great one on ESPN at 7:30 p.m. Once again, Tyrese's dad not going to be able to be in attendance, which is a bummer. That will be a missing piece of the building tonight. We hope he is enjoying this playoff run, especially with how his kid has been performing. All right, let's move to the other team you just chatted about there, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ty Schmidt has a question for you.
Yeah, Shams, obviously after game one, where Denver looks great, they get the game-winning bucket from Aaron Gordon. They kind of like the Warriors. I mean, you don't want to say they punted, but they get beat by 43 and kind of just looked like they were happy to take one, steal one in OKC. We've seen everything with Jokic where he's the head coach now as well as their best player. Do you expect the Nuggets to bounce back in a big way against the Thunder tomorrow night, or how do you think the rest of this series is going to go after these first 2 games?
I think this series has a chance to go, 6-7 games, because Denver is the way they're playing right now, I think they're as in sync as possible. And I don't think they went into game 2. I think the Warriors went into that game too. They were scrambling, trying to figure out all these different rotations. I think the Nuggets tried to win, but I think Oklahoma City, it showed me more about what Oklahoma City's about, finding themselves, because that's the team we've seen all season. That's really the team that we're known for. Their level of dominance when their games are right. I mean, they've been absolutely killing the entire NBA in terms of their plus minus all season long. You saw in that series against Memphis, they were down like 25 points. They ended up winning that game by a lot in that game 3 in Memphis. So I think that's really Oklahoma City to me. But Denver is in a great position now to be able to go back home. Aaron Gordon, the way he's playing, Russell Westbrook contributing the way he is, Michael Porter Jr. playing with a pretty banged up shoulder, giving everything he has. It's all at the end of the day going to boil down to, though, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And can those 2 guys be the best 2 players on the floor in any given order? That's really what's going to dictate, I think, these Denver Nuggets winning. Because I think the last game, what was it, 6 fouls for Jokic, 6 field goal attempts? That's obviously not what's going to win Denver games.
Yeah, I always assumed that Joker understood your team more and more as the series would go on. That's just kind of how I thought Joker was. So to watch how this game went, it was very, I don't want to say alarming, but it was oh, I didn't expect that. But I think what Oklahoma City people are saying is, we played terrible game. This is just who we are. And this is why everybody thought Oklahoma City was going to win this series. When I was so you're telling me Joker is not the favorite? It's this has been the Oklahoma City team all year, right? This is they've been dominant. They have been the best basketball team in the league on numerous different occasions, right, this season?
Yeah, they've been the best team in the NBA. I mean, you think about the only thing that would hold this team back is they haven't been there, done that. Like they got to the second round last year, but they haven't made a deep run to the conference finals or the NBA finals. So even like Oklahoma City, in a lot of ways, they're still young. They're still building the right way. They only have one max player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, those guys are all going to be up for extensions this summer. So that's when decisions start being made. But this is still a pretty young Thunder group in terms of what their experience is like going down in the playoffs.
Thunder. Lightning and a thunder. Do they play that? I assume they got to play that.
Have to.
I assume they have to. All right, let's go from Western Conference, best team in the West. Let's go to the reigning champs in the East. Start spreading the news. They're leaving.
Yo, pan the camera to BC.
Yeah.
We got to pan the camera.
Yeah, that's where
How's
we're headed.
that guy doing?
He's not scared. It feels like he's like in a position.
He's wearing a Patriots jersey. I thought he was going to come in here.
Yeah, it's football
the day
season.
before a big game 3 at the Garden. I thought he was going to be wearing a vintage KG Celtics jersey or something.
Well,
Come on, BC.
I think the jerseys he's wearing is in the trenches jersey. That is an offensive lineman's jersey who just so happens to have the same last name as Connor. But with that being said, it feels like Joe Mazzulla needs to dig into the trenches a little bit and figure this out. Connor does have a question for you about what's going on over there in the East.
Yeah, Shams, I do have a question. And before I get to it, I will say, I am not worried just yet. I've told the boys and Pat, I've opened the door of where the panic button lives, and I've looked at it, but I've not taken it out. I've not thought about pressing it because to act as if the Celtics can come back from down 2-0 is ridiculous. They've been down 3-0, and they forced.
Of course.
So all this is very possible. Now, being completely healthy would help a lot for the Celtics. Obviously, Sam Hauser, we all saw it, ankle. That's a clear-cut injury. Who knows when he's coming back? The Porzingis sickness, has kind of just been confusing from the beginning. He missed a bunch of time during the regular season. No one really knew what it was all about. Game 1, he leaves at halftime, doesn't come back with some sort of mystery sickness, illness. Can you put any insight into that? And because Game 2, he's coming off the bench, still doesn't look like himself. What is this entire illness, sickness, and will we expect him in the starting lineup for the rest of this series or playoffs?
So Kristaps Porzingis, my understanding is he's been dealing with a lingering of side effects from the virus that he had in March, and it's something that has zapped his energy. It's drained him. He's had to rely on getting a lot more sleep over the last couple months. He's had to take IVs, immune boosters, I'm told. So he's tried to figure out ways to mitigate it. Obviously, they've run him through a battery of different tests, and they have not been able to, I guess, completely identify which virus could this specifically be. But he's seen doctors, he's gotten tests done, and to their understanding, the Celtics, the doctors, Porzingis, it's just been these lingering side effects. And it just imagine being the competitor he is. And Pat, this is, and BC knows this, Porzingis played through a leg injury in the finals last year that needed 3, 4, 5 months of rehab before a return. Like, this is someone that has already showed that he'll put his body on the line. He's a competitor. When he came into the league, he had such high expectations, made an all-star team. And then he played for the Wizards, the Mavericks, and then I think the last couple years playing for Boston, he's been their missing piece. Because when he's on the floor, that's an element Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, none of their guards, no one can do what Kristaps Porzingis does. So it's been a tough blow to this team not to have him 100%, but that's my understanding, BC, it's been lingering effects from this whatever bad viral bug he had in March.
I couldn't imagine that lingering for that long. I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
Think about how mad you would be. I had a cold, not comparing, okay, I don't know what that is, but I had like a cold for like what felt like 7 weeks, like just a couple weeks back. I had no idea. Every day I woke up, I'm like, this has got to be over. Like, it's got to be over. Taking shit for it, it's just still there. I was so pissed. I couldn't even imagine a guy in the best shape of his life missing this type of game because of lingering effects from a virus like this long. Every morning, and I don't know what this is, obviously, but every morning you probably assume, I'm going to be better. Like, you're going to sleep at this stage, like, I'm going to be better, and it just continues to go. That sucks. Hey, keep powering through, brother.
Sounds like mono. Actually, it sounds like something that does. I mean, I haven't heard of anything that lasts that long.
BC, I asked about that. I was told no.
Not mono. Okay,
and
sounds
it's not
good.
COVID.
No. They tested for COVID. They tested. I think they've done a bunch of. I think they've tested on everything you possibly can, and there hasn't been anything that's showed up that's like you do X, Y, Z. But a few weeks ago, it seemed like he was over this. All the things that he was doing, the sleep pattern, the IVs, the immune boosters, it all seemed like it was working. And for whatever reason, he spoke to it a little bit after game 2. There's some kind of a crash that he's kind of had in the last couple weeks of last week, and obviously, we want him to feel better.
Doctors saying, we have no idea what that'd be. A little bit of hey, we're pulling for you, man.
MGH too, man.
We're pulling for
hospital in the world.
We're pulling for you up there in Boston. Great facilities from everything that we've learned. All right, at this moment, who's winning the NBA title?
Pat, I don't do picks. Come on. We've been doing this for 6 years. I don't do picks.
Yeah, who's
till today?
Who's going to win? Let's make a show.
But
Let's
when
have
you
a
look at this
Friday.
group, you look at this group, I think Oklahoma City, they've been so dominant all year.
That's why
it looked like, obviously big game 2 win. Great big game 2 win. So we'll see how the game 3 goes in Denver. But listen, I think a lot of people around the league still feel like the Celtics are going to be able to turn the corner. I mean, even though they're down 2-0, lost both games at home. It's crazy. I think the Celtics have done this before. BC, if you remember, the team with Isaiah Thomas on it, they went down 2-0 to the Bulls. I think it was the Jimmy Butler, Rondo, D. Wade team. They lost both games in Boston and ended up winning that series. So it's never not been done. The question is just, can you beat a team like the Knicks, where you think about the Knicks starting 5? That's a really formidable group, and now you seem like it really seems like they're clicking. They're all coming together, and I think that's what everyone's been waiting on, especially with the Knicks.
I forget the stat. What is it, like 14-12? Jalen Brunson points in the final 30 seconds or minute of game.
I mean, there's just no way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are shooting like 32% from the field, like for an entire series. They missed 75 threes.
Yeah, 75 threes. Q Rich laid it out well. 45 wide open shots, threes that they have missed. The stat I think you're talking about is that the Knicks are outscoring the Celtics in clutch time 28-12. In the fourth quarter, I think they're outscoring them like 55-30. So it's not just like I
think Brunson has more points than the Celtics in a super duper close crunch. I forget how Greenberg described it. Him and Hembo went to work on a monologue, and it was like Jalen Brunson has like 14 or 13 points in like maybe the final 30
Probably
seconds.
Last
and then
minute,
the Celtics as a total have 12.
Yeah,
like he is just out. Like let alone the entire team and everything. Yeah. There's all these clutch stats that are coming out about this Knicks team. And if you're in the playoffs, like that's in basketball, isn't
what it's all about.
That is the shit. And that's where the Celtics, this is very abnormal for them just to go absolutely ice cold at the end of games, because that is why they've been great. That is why they are currently our champs.
Yes, it's old Celtics. Like back when they were a younger team, when they were trying to make the finals, trying just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, this is the shit that was happening. Like they were down 3-2 to the Bucks, and they had to go to Milwaukee and win Game 6, and they did. That's why I think a lot of Celtics fans have faith, because they've been there. They've won in these high-pressure moments. I mean, I remember the Heat Celtics series where Derek White, or maybe it was Marcus Smart, gets a tip-in at the end of the game with 0.01 seconds on the clock, and so I think that's why there's a lot of faith there from being down and coming back. But, I mean, when things aren't going your way, they're not going your way, and it was just like the Pacers-Celtics Eastern Conference Finals last year, where the Pacers are winning the entire game, and then the Celtics won the games, but now it's the Celtics are winning the whole game, and the Knicks are winning the game in the end.
Here's the stat I just found from Greeny's monologue. I just went to his Twitter account because I'm happy he posted this, by the way. Mm-hmm. This was very well done with a lot of stats, and Greeny delivered it in a great way. He posted it. So in clutch time points in the Eastern Conference semifinals, Jalen Brunson has 14 points. The Celtics have 12 in total. So what is... Like, we know the red zone, there's a high red zone, then there's the red zone. Mm-hmm. We don't know what separates clutch time to
I believe
final 2 minutes.
Clutch time is like when the game's within 5 points or within a certain number, whether it's one possession or two possession games, like that's clutch time.
Final minute. And then I think they had they're undefeated on the road, 5 wins on the road or
5
something.
Straight by
3 points or less.
Yeah, boom.
So it's like this team, whenever it comes down to it, final cup on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks are going to knock it down. That's just what it is. What were you going to say there, Tone?
There's there's been 12 minutes of clutch time in the 2 games so far. I found that. I'm not sure exactly what the definition is, but I know there's been 12 minutes of clutch time in the first.
And Jalen Brunson was voted what?
Yeah, clutch player.
Yeah,
of the year.
Most clutch player
of the year.
Yeah. And then, so you would think maybe those awards are accurate sometime. And then you hear Tyrese Halliburton's most overrated player in the league, and then he's all over your city.
There's just no way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum aren't going to be able to turn the corner to some extent. Now,
We thought that last game, didn't we? We thought that last game, we thought.
But over a full series, like I actually see Boston Connor's perspective right there. Like we thought, they were potentially over this after you win the championship, and no one's going to take away that championship away from them.
Awesome.
But to be coming down to this series in round 2, this is a team that has championship aspirations. This season is not supposed to end in the second round by any means, and so I think having faith in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they've been there, they've done it. The amount that they've won at such a young age, but again, this is not a series where they can afford to have another bad fourth quarter. They just can't.
Yeah, and I believe in Joe Mazzulla.
Big time.
So I believe in Joe Mazzulla. Okay, I do.
Yeah, me too.
I do believe in Joe Mazzulla.
All the boys.
And I believe in I believe in that team after watching them and having to experience it alongside you and watch what they did to Indiana whenever they were here, whenever they were down a lot of those games and they were coming back in the clutch time to win last year during their championship. So I believe in them, but it's hard to just think that this guy's just going to give it up.
Yeah.
Like this guy's, hey, he's special. This guy is
unbelievable.
His mentality is special. And
NBA,